the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up? Welcome to, this is a normal edition, we should say, not a special edition, normal edition. Cowboys Cave, your boy Mike Tag, Kelly K9. We getting this thing going. I put a little double duty. I was on the UK Cowboys Live, podcast that they did, and I had a great time. Good dudes. Man, it's just amazing. Kelly, we were talking about before we jumped on, man, the fans with the Cow. I mean, people say America's team. It's like the world's team. I mean, they're everywhere, and they have a whole group, they charter a whole group that come over, and they're going to the Thanksgiving Day game, and they're flying from all countries in Europe. And I'm just telling you, the passion that they have. I mean, these guys, they brought it, and I mean, Mike and Paul and Lauren. I mean, they knew their stuff. It was a lot of fun, man. I'm disappointed that I'm not going to Thanksgiving. I was hoping to hang with them,
You know what? Yeah, it's passionate fans all around the globe, man, and you just making your rounds all the way, man, across the pond, back over here. You're what do they call you? You're a jolly old chap. You're a jolly old chap.
We're going worldwide, but I'm telling you guys, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit the share. Everyone tells me I don't say it enough. Kelly, we got to get you to start saying it more too. I think both of us get in the groove, man. We start talking, but I'm just going to say, I don't know how you felt about it, Kelly, and I don't know what the people thought about last night. I mean, and I always say I don't know if it was the greatest interview. I don't want to say it's greatest interview. That was the greatest time that I think I've had on the show.
The interactions. Yeah, the interactions.
So many sound bites. Some I missed. You play it back. And he said that someone who wasn't tossing John Gruden salad enough, that's why they had problems.
Oh yeah,
there was just so many things that Ian Beckles, man, absolute. He brought it like I thought he would, but he even went a step further. But I got so many comments. I don't know if you did. Just people who watched it said that was the funniest, podcast we've seen in forever. There was just nonstop, man. But it was awesome. It was awesome.
Absolutely, he held no punches, and he he definitely brought it, man. So he brought his A game, and we had some back and forth, back and forth with him, and didn't agree about everything, obviously, but at the end of the day, he was a cool guy, man, and he definitely was a character for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it was so funny when I found that Eagle video of the Cowboys game. I was just searching on YouTube and I said, find that game. And when his face was on there after that, and then for him to say that was the worst loss. So when you see it, it was a natural reaction. I mean, you saw it, like his face, he just was pissed. He was upset that, oh man, I can't believe they got this video going. He knew it was coming. He knew that picture was going to be.
Oh there. Yeah, as soon as you started playing it, he knew what game that was. He knew the game. He remembered it. He had the look on his. He almost had the same look on his face that he did at the actual game.
But yeah, it was awesome. But like I said, we're having so much fun. And people ask, how fortunate are we to be able to just hang and talk with Cowboys Nation, talk to the fans, be able to talk to former players. I mean, legends of the game from the Cowboys to great players and national championships and Super Bowl champions and all that. So we're just having a blast, and we've got more to come. So make sure you guys, again, spread the word. Spread the word, because there should be more love given to Kelly and I. Do you think so, Kelly, or am I being mean?
Oh no, I think so too, man. If you guys can share it, I mean, every time you share the show, share the link, like, smash that like button, hit the sign up, the subscription button. I've been telling people, man, I'm out here trying to promote the show like a dealer. The first one's free. Is it? Well, technically they're all free, but you're gonna be hooked after the first one. So just get them in for one, and they'll keep coming back.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. And we want you guys to be part of the show. Now I know there's sometimes it's hard, so we give you options. You got 4 options, and we don't mind any of them. So your first option is you can always give us a holler. There's a number you can call up, be part of the show, and say what you want to say. If you don't agree with us, hey, we'll listen to you, man. Our minds are dead set. We can be persuaded a little bit, so you can call us. The other way that you can do it is you can join the show if you're on your phone or on your computer, something like that. Then you can go ahead and we're gonna put the little link in the chat, and all you got to do is click that, and you are going to be piped right into the show, and you're going to be one of us, and you'll be part of the show. The other thing is you can join in the chat, and you can tell us how you feel, tell us if you love us or hate us or the thoughts we have. The last thing you do is just sit and relax. If you're quiet, you don't want to. We're not going to be offended either way, but we want to give you guys the options to participate any way you feel necessary, because this show tonight is going to be all about the Cowboys offense and really what are we seeing? How good can this offense be? And then the other topic is really talking about Deuce Vaughn. Can he be that X factor on offense? So, and we can always stray in other directions after we get rolling. But so I'll start with you, Kelly. When maybe your first thoughts when you're looking at this offense going into 2023, we're going to say it's all healthy. We don't want to jinx anything. You're looking at this roster now. What's your instant reaction when you see it?
I like the moves that we've made. I think they put weapons around Dak Prescott. I am in honor of the show tonight wearing Mr. Dak Prescott's jersey. Being critical of a man doesn't mean you can't support a man. You know what I mean? And I've been critical of Dak. I've been one of the first ones to say that I think he's got to play better in the playoffs. I said, I think at the end of last year, my video said that the reason we lost wasn't because of the defense. It was our fucking $40 million quarterback. I say that shit again today. I said it then. I said now. It wasn't an emotional reaction. It wasn't just on the cuff. It was what I felt at the time. It's what I still feel now. He's making the big bucks. He's got to earn the big bucks. And how do you do that? Win in the playoffs. But as far as our offense goes, man, I love it, man. I think that they've put weapons around Dak Prescott. I think we've got a new offensive philosophy we're going to start to integrate into this team. And I just think that they've done, they've given Dak weapons to succeed, right?
Yep.
We didn't have the receivers last year, and this year, they added Cooks to the mix. You've got Gallup coming back a little bit healthier. Hopefully we see the Gallup of old, because when he's that guy, man, he's on. And I think if you've got the combination of CeeDee Lamb and Gallup and Cooks out there, that wide receiver combo, I think, is deadly. And there's some guys who can earn that 4th roster spot. Then I think our tight end group is very strong as it's ever been. I think those young guys are going to shine. We'll see what our rookie Schoonmaker can do. I like it, man. The addition of Deuce Vaughn to the thing, I think, adds another dynamic. I really love it. I'm kind of like you, little shaky on that kind of the whole running back spot, but overall, I really feel confident about our offense to be, maybe not an offense that's scoring, 35 points a game, but an offense that can get it done when needed to. When you need to convert a 3rd down, we got guys that we can throw it to all over that field. We got options all over the field to convert those big 3rd downs and keep moving the ball and score. So I feel good.
No, I agree. And we're popping a cherry here, right here. So we're going to bring in one of your partners in crime. You guys both probably go to Twitter jail more than anybody. You guys get yourselves in trouble commenting on everyone's, backing each other up, especially Eagle fans. So who we got on here, man? What's up, brother?
Boys?
What's going on, Mr. Shady?
K9, the Kelly Green Giant, and Mike, can you dig it? Tizag.
What is going on, man? I appreciate you jumping on, man. It's awesome. So
no doubt, bro.
This is, if you guys don't know already on Twitter, man, this man, he brings it, and he gets into some heated battles. I love it, especially with Eagle fans, makes me love it even more. But how you feeling about this offense? I mean, you heard what Kelly said. Anything you want to add?
I agree. I agree with K9. What I'm really looking for is I'm hoping for, not completely new offensive philosophy, but a consistent offensive philosophy. What I hope is that when Mike McCarthy was on the sidelines and the Cowboys were rolling down the field, and Kellen called the triple reverse Statue of Liberty flea flicker for a loss of 46 yards. I hope that he was the same as the rest of us fans and was like, "What have you done? What did you do, dude?" So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Mike to hopefully bring some consistency to the offense to where we don't have to, to where we have no idea of who's showing up,
No,
because we don't know. We don't know. At this point, we really have no idea. We can just speculate.
Yeah, and it was funny, I was getting into it with my man Ian Beckles, and I saw Kelly was ready to jump on, and then he hit us with the dagger, and I was speechless. And I think, Kelly, you might have had a look on your face too. He said, "Hey man, just tell me what your offensive identity is." And I couldn't. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And
That's the thing. That's the thing. You just don't know right now. You don't know right now. You can hope that it's going to be better. And I think we have the players that if we can utilize those players, which has been a problem in the history of the Cowboys, basically, is how do we use this guy to his specialty? Yeah. And hopefully Mike is able to unlock that. And, but we'll see. But right now it's all just speculation. When I'm asked, what do I think the Cowboys are going to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well,
I think the defense is bringing it.
Yeah, well, I don't think the defense, we don't have much to worry about that. But, talking about getting guys involved, and Kelly jump in, we're going to talk a lot about Deuce. But one thing that I saw in OTAs was our man Turpin seemed to be involved, right? They're getting him involved in offensive plays and doing that kind of stuff. So is that kind of, what we're missing is some juice, some juice into this offense that, the creativity. And that's where, we could jump on Deuce Vaughn too, because it kind of ties in.
I think
we need some X factors, just some guys that can make something happen with the ball in your hand. And you got a couple guys that I think are on the, that are on the team. Turpin's one, and I think Deuce is another one. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts about getting them in if it's 4 or 5 plays and a few touches a game just to change it up?
Well, definitely don't sit there and leave them back, and leave them back there and have these playmakers and don't do shit with them, because, it's funny. Mike McCarthy was always saying, last year he talked about how the offense was going to, run through Zeke, the offense run through Zeke. But if you think about it, offense didn't run through Zeke. The offense ran through Dak pretty much the whole time. He threw it a lot last year, and probably a lot more than he needed to. And what frustrates me is that, we had Pollard for 4 years, and 3 of those 4 years, he didn't really get shit for carries. Last year was really the first year that we started to really utilize him on a regular basis. So I don't want them to be sitting there and going, well, we think we got a playmaker in Deuce Vaughn, but, we'll give him about, a couple carries a game. You'll see him sparingly. Like, man, I don't give a shit if he's a rookie or not, man.
No,
throw that kid out there, man, and find out right away, is this kid going to be a star or is he not? Because there's plenty of rookie running backs that have come out their first year and just completely busted onto the scene and exceeded expectations, and it don't matter what round they're drafted in. So, and the same thing with Turpin, man. If you think you've got some juice with Turpin, you think he can bring some mismatches on the on the offensive side of the ball, absolutely utilize that shit, man. What's the point of having a gadget weapon if you don't ever fucking use it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's like bringing a gun to a knife fight, but you pull out your baseball bat. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't even view Deuce as a gimmicky player whatsoever. I think you just line him up.
Yeah,
you just line him up.
Man, I just don't want him to get
fire.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of obviously Sproles, is he's always going to get compared to Sproles. Came from K-State. They're both, and Sproles had a really strong career. he was a guy that, I mean, he ran the
He
ball
was
well,
awesome.
and those smaller guys can
He
get
was scared.
behind, they get behind that line and get going, and he's got a lot of juice in him. I mean, they had Deuce running out in OTAs. So, they had him out wide, running some passes out. So I think that he's a weapon that they can utilize in so many
Definitely.
different ways. And I think the game is about mismatches, right? It's
It
how
is.
you match up
It
and
is.
create those mismatches on offense and defense. And I think with the Cowboys last year, very predictable for the most part.
Very.
Plays
very,
they run were just terrible,
very.
and they sometimes did just some real bonehead stuff, like you talked about the triple reverse statue
Right.
of liberty, lining up 5 wide,
That's
all
where
that
we're all like,
It's just
You know-
it's just getting cute, man. And you know what's funny is that Kellen Moore was under Jason Garrett for several years before he became, the offensive coordinator. And it's funny because Jason Garrett, I swear Jason Garrett ran a similar style of offense as Kellen Moore. I feel like Kellen Moore learned some of that shit. So I was watching the other day, it was a game, and Dak was the quarterback, but Garrett was the head coach on that team. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and we get a run. It's a 40, 50-yard run. We get down to the 10-yard line, and we proceed to throw 3 straight passes and fucking end up kicking a field goal. And I'm sitting there going, did you not see us run the ball right down their fucking throats, and then you're gonna throw the ball 3 times? And that's what Kellen Moore would do. We'd have like a first and goal from the 8, and he'd run a fucking reverse. And you're going, what are you doing? Like, a quarterback, a wide receiver pass. We're gonna have the wide receiver throw. It's like, just line up and run the fucking ball, man.
Yeah.
And that goes to the identity thing. You know what I mean? Have an identity and stick with it.
we would have 5.7 yards rushing and could just commence to passing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was I think he just didn't understand the flow. He didn't understand the flow. I just think he's young.
Well, some of those guys, they just get too cute. And I like Jimmy Johnson told Michael Irvin one time, "Don't be cute, be good."
Yeah,
and I mean, it's always it sticks in my head. I was on that UK Cowboys, great time, great show. Make sure you guys check it out, subscribe to them too. But we brought up the Jaguar game, and I was there, unfortunately, for that Jaguar game, and it was absolutely, of course, the interception that we were talking about turnovers and Dak or whatever. Should have never been there. When Trevor Lawrence fumbled the ball, game over. I mean, how do you not end the game right there? And again, it's offensive coordinator, play call, and everything that goes with it. That stuff can't happen. And I think with McCarthy, you saw it. You saw it as the year went on. He started digging. He started throwing little digs. Hey, I used to do, what I used to do is I got our playmakers involved early, scripted certain plays to get the top receiver involved, get the running back, get everyone in the flow of the game, your key guys. That way, everything always works out better when they're involved early. That's where it just got worse and worse and worse. And he started digging and digging, and you knew this was going to come to a head. And that's why I tell people, I don't care what anyone says. I will go to my grave knowing that Mike McCarthy wanted nothing to do with Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator.
No, he didn't.
And you know what? Think about it, just to touch on what you said, Mike. Think about this. How many times last year did Cowboys fans, and Shady, you can chime in on this too, but how many times last year did us Cowboys fans talk about how this was a rhythm offense, and you knew right away if this team was going to be able to, because if they started off and they got into a rhythm, they kept that rhythm the whole game, and they were just humming like a finely tuned machine. But if they didn't get that rhythm right away, it's like the wheels fucking fell off, and it was like driving an 85 Cadillac Eldorado with 230,000 miles on it. That sucker was funking and bumping all over the damn road. But if McCarthy can get these guys in a rhythm early, man, this offense can be dangerous, because that's what Dak needs. Him, CD, all those guys, get them in a rhythm, and then they keep that rhythm. But we couldn't necessarily get that. The consistency wasn't there on ourselves.
We stalled ourselves out. And we have the defense that if we can jump on somebody, they're going to hold them.
Yep.
They're going to hold them. If you've got our defense with a lead, even a 10-point lead, a 17-point lead, they're lights out.
Yeah. No, I mean, the offense, Dak doesn't need to throw for 5,000 yards anyway. They've got to just, when it comes nut cutting time, and it's, it's a fourth quarter. What are they going to do? And that's where I'm really interested to see how this team develops. To me, it's power run, end the game with. I don't know if we have that. That's again what Kelly we talked about, and
That's
I
a
don't know.
question mark.
I don't know your thoughts, Shady, on the running game. Of course, you got Pollard coming off an injury. You know,
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we
okay.
just don't know. Yeah,
But you
we
got
just don't
Jones. Are
know.
you a fan of Jones? I mean, what you think?
Yeah, yeah,
You like him?
yeah. I do.
Help me then, because I don't.
I mean, he looks good to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen him in Tampa. I've seen him in Tampa, unfortunately. And it's just,
that's just the whole thing. I just don't know. We just have no clue. We don't know if Pollard's going to be Pollard. We don't really know if our offensive line is going to be stable. You know, we don't. There's a bunch of we don't knows. Except for we do know our defense is going to be good. We know that.
Yeah. We're gonna be in some games. The only thing I would say that worries me with Pollard, if you're going to make him the lead dog and make him the workhorse, and believe me, no one wants him to be successful more than me and all of us. But it just brings me back to Felix Jones. You know, with Barry, they make him the dog, and then he never was the same because he wasn't that way in college. And Pollard never was a lead dog in college either. He never had more than I think 15 carries in a game or something like that.
Who was paired with Felix? It was Felix and
it was you had
Felix Jones and Marion Barber.
In college.
Oh, Felix and McFadden.
Felix. Yeah, that's right. Felix and McFadden. Yeah, that was a duo.
So that's kind of my, if I was going to talk about our offenses, that the running game is the only thing that I just don't know. Now Malik Davis, I mean, a young kid, just like
Ian X factor.
Last night, what did he say, Kelly? There's 2 running backs and a bunch of guys in the league. I mean, he doesn't value running backs, and this is coming from an offensive lineman. Maybe that's pride, maybe it's accurate, but he doesn't value the running back position. He's basically say, get your line in there, throw anyone back there, and you're going to be good to go. So I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, though, what he said is absolutely true, though, in terms of look around the league, and there's not one running back where you think, okay, this guy right here. There's a couple. Derrick Henry, who is starting to break down, and then really outside of him,
maybe McCaffrey,
maybe McCaffrey, but even he has been so injury prone. It's like most of these teams that are running it. Yeah, most of these teams that are running it, they got multiple running backs that they're using, and the guy from Cleveland,
Chubb.
Nick Chubb. He'd probably be the other guy that I would say him and Henry. Those guys are the 2 premier backs in the league. Everybody else is just kind of because even Saquon Barkley, man, that guy can't stay on the damn field to save his life. You know what I mean? So, and same thing with McCaffrey. So, it's those guys haven't really proven they've been able to carry the load. So if we can get multiple guys in the mix, and Malik may be that guy, he may be that X factor that comes out and surprises us and is a perfect fit for a number 2 running back, and he fills that spot that we think that he needs. Now, obviously, the main thing that worries me about our running backs is who's going to pass block, because Zeke was tremendous at pass blocking, and everybody else right now at the running back position, honestly, seems like a liability. So you're going to have to, as an offensive coordinator, that's going to be the challenge for McCarthy and Schottenheimer, is when we're in these situations and you've got running back in the backfield, who are we putting in the block for Dak? Because Zeke saved Dak's ass on multiple occasions from getting, a big blindside hit, or just getting hit and then fumbled. I mean, he saved Dak on multiple occasions. So that's my concern when it comes to these running backs, is who's going to be the guy step up and take on, chip block on a defensive end coming around the blind side when Dak's got the ball and he needs just a second more to get that ball loose. So that concerns me.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll probably see a 15 tight end set.
We got enough of them. We got enough tight end. Hey, we got a fullback. We got a fullback now, so maybe we can bring in a couple running backs, a fullback. We start. My joke with Mike about it. We're gonna start running the wishbone offense.
Have Switzer in the booth.
Oh, he'll be loving it. He'll be loving it. So, hey, Shady. So, real quick before we let you go. Are you going to be at the Jets game? Is that been? Are we confirmation? We got that locked and loaded.
Yes, sir. It is confirmed. We will be at the Jets game.
So we're going to have a crew there. So I don't know if any of you guys are watching and you're thinking I don't know if I should get tickets. I don't know, man. If you don't get tickets, show up to the tailgate. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, the last tailgate was awesome, and hey, you know what? You know what's cool? I'm in you guys' intro.
That's
Yes,
true.
you are.
That's
Yes, you
true.
are.
Yeah,
I,
man.
I
We're
see
gonna
that
make
I
every
a
mean,
time.
new
I'm
one,
like,
especially
"Are
on
they Shady?"
Kelly. We're gonna
Yep.
make a new one.
I'm in the back like this. I, I shot my own. As a matter of fact, I have my own video of poor Kelly, but he knows what I'm saying. But anyways, man, I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that if things get to clicking and we get to rolling, I think we've got the defense to hold folks
Yeah.
back. I think we can do some things,
No.
man. I think we can do some
Yeah,
things.
no.
So like I said, I hope McCarthy is a lot more like us than the previous guy was. So all we can do is
No,
hope.
absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping in and breaking the
All right,
ice, man.
fellas.
Always takes the first
All right,
one. I
man.
appreciate
Hey,
it.
thanks for
All
coming
right,
on,
man.
man. Can't wait to see you for that Jets
Hell
game,
yeah.
baby.
All right. See you, brother.
All right, man. We'll see
All
you
right,
guys.
take care. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome, dude, man. It's
Look
good
at
to
that,
have
man.
him on.
We got Shady in here to break
You
the
know,
ice. Now, who's the
what more do
next
you
one?
want, man?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. That's the stuff that we like. But really, when you're looking at the Cowboys, I got to give Ultra. His due. I would agree with him. I don't think there are any excuses, barring any catastrophic injury or something crazy that's happened. I don't think there's any excuses for this team, especially offensively, not to be dominant, and especially with the help of the defense doing what they do. This offense should. I know. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. I've turned the TV off. I know Marcus. I think I saw him in here. He's waiting. They're coming back to Miami. They got to come back to Miami. I'll be chilling on a cruise, relaxing in the bar there, enjoying the Miami victory. I already packed my Heat shirt. I had a feeling something like this might happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's I just had to pop that on the screen there. I saw already said down by 20. I was like, yeah.
I
shit.
know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with Ultra too, man. It's a no excuse roster. There's no excuses for this Cowboys team to not do it, man, which is why it's why I think that it's Dak Prescott's it's his prove it year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They put the pieces around you, they change the offensive coordinator, all the excuses are gone. You can't use Kellen Moore, we can't blame him anymore. He's gone. For the people that for the people that said Zeke was washed and Pollard should be getting all the carries, well, hey, now Zeke's gone.
You got it.
Pollard gets all. You got your wish. Now be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because I remember last year, and I kept saying last year all year long, I said, you know what, we got a perfect combination with these two guys. Why do you have to have one or the other when you can have both? You know what I mean? It's that old saying, and this may not be good for guys that are married, but you got two hot girls and they both like you. Why just have one when you can have both? You know what I mean? Carpe diem, seize the day.
I'm gonna go old school, and anyone they call me old or whatever, but there used to be was it Michael Jordan and Larry Bird both? There was a commercial, or was it Bo? There was one of those commercials where one or the other. Both, and then they wanted both. It was one of those guys, but no, the rule change, and correct me if I'm wrong, this rule basically says that you could fair catch a kickoff anywhere and it goes on a 25, meaning if they kick the ball off, and sometimes they want to strategically put it inside the 5.
Okay.
If the returner calls for signals for a fair catch, he could fair catch it there, and they get the ball at the 25. If you try and do a squib kick or something like that, and the guy fair catches it, they get the ball at the 25 or whatever, whatever it is to just save someone from getting killed. Or I don't like it. I think you're just continually to change the game. And, they talk about player safety. If I'm wrong on that rule, Kelly, am I wrong on that rule? Did I say it right?
I don't know, man. That's the first I haven't looked into that. That's the first I've heard of it. But if that is, man, I think that's complete bullshit. I'm
pretty sure that's the rule. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Let's just take the kickers out of the goddamn game then, because what's the point of having a fucking kicker? I mean, because that's literally part of kicking. When you're a kicker, one of the things they want an accurate kicker. They want a guy that coffin corner or whatever.
Yeah.
They can pin it in the corner where they can get that ball to drop and stop dead, where there's no bounce or it's got some backspin. So it literally just dies on like the 5-yard line or the 10-yard line. You want to get it down. So, I mean, what's the point of doing that if a guy can just, fair catch it now? Why even have the fucking kickers? Just, have
just
a
give it to
possession
him at 25 and let's
put
be
it
done with it.
25 every time and just eliminate the kicker. No more field goals. I mean, fuck it. Let's just change the game up completely if we're going to.
Because really, if you get the ball if that happens, you're going to fair catch it. I mean, geez.
You know what? And I think, when he mentioned about player safety and stuff, I have to say, and Ian Beckles yesterday talked about it, and other older players have echoed that too. The NFL don't give a shit about none of these guys when it comes to safety, because he talked about how they put Tua right back on the field after having his concussion. They went and put him right back on. The NFL doesn't care about that. They didn't penalize they don't penalize anybody for doing that kind of shit. You see guys all the time get waxed, and then the next week they've somehow cleared concussion protocol and right back on the field. So the NFL and their whole, we care about these players. They don't care about the players. They're just trying to keep themselves from getting a lawsuit or something like that because of this whole CTE thing that's going on. But yeah, the whole, we're doing it to make the game safe. Man, these guys get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play a dangerous game. Football has been dangerous since the existence of football.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't keep changing the game like that. You know what I mean? Because it takes away from the game that we fell in love with. And it's just, I don't like the direction it's going. I really don't.
You take the guys, you think about Hester, you think about, Dante Hall, you think about Eric Metcalf, you think about all these guys, you could talk about Turpin now. I mean, guys make a living in special teams. Guys make a living returning kicks, and that's how they're, and you're basically taking out of the game, but you're also taking a strategy out of the game of doing those types of kicks and trying to create field position and help your team out. So I'm not a fan of it. I just, they don't practice much, right? You don't hit. They don't do preseason anymore. They don't even play in preseason. None of the starters of any significance. They went ahead on Thursday night, and I understand Roger Goodell. Oh, we made it 28 days, and you got to have plenty of notice. But it's just to continue to F you to the fans that, of course, TV revenue's more. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know how you guys feel about Thursday night football. If Dallas isn't playing on Thursday night football, I don't watch it. I don't give a shit who it is. I'm just, sometimes you get footballed out. You got football all day Saturday with college. You got football on Sunday. You got football on Monday. And then college was on Thursday, but now they've kind of destroyed the college Thursday game. So I just don't understand what the NFL. I know it's all about money. It's all driven by TV revenue. They don't care that people are paying their hard-earned money to go to the stadium. Will get a big FU because they're going to change the tickets and change the day of these games. And these guys, families that go there, what are these families going to do? Forget some schlubs like us. I'm talking about a guy who's working his ass off to save enough money to bring his kids to the game, and they're planning on going Thursday, and then they switch it. Or let's say he's planning on going Sunday, and they switch it. The guy's got to work the next day. The kid's got to go to school the next day, and all this worked everything around it. I don't mean to get all crazy. I just think it's BS what they continue to do, and then to try and sell you on the NFL players love Thursday football because they get a couple extra days rest. I haven't seen too many NFL players that love Thursday. Now, maybe they're out there. I don't know. Every NFL player that we've had on here or that we've talked to said Thursdays, they hated it. They hated playing Thursdays, that short rest. Some of them could barely start walking by Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that echoes to the whole thing of the NFL talking about player safety. I mean, shit, they already took away the amount of contact practices you can have in a week, but yeah, you can play on a Sunday and suit the fuck back up and play on Thursday. How's that safe for anybody? These players don't have enough time to recuperate from a Sunday. And sometimes, you get on some occasions, it's rare. They don't do it very often, but there was some time where a team would play Sunday night and end up playing on a Thursday. I think it happened once or twice maybe last year. So, I mean, don't tell me that shit is safe for these players. You want these players fresh. You want them to be at their top peak physical condition, but you keep playing these guys on 4 days rest on a Thursday. I just don't think it's a good idea, man. I don't think it's a good idea. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't like Thursday night football because I did say somebody in the chat say that they liked Oklahoma up 3-0. And it's all right. It's only the third inning. Texas Tech, the comeback baseball team, baby.
I had to get you back for putting that Miami thing on there.
Yeah. Well, Texas Tech was coming back. Anyway, no, but I mean, I like all the football I can get. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll take in all the football that I can get. A lot of times those Thursday night games are just not quality football.
Well, they're not. The game. That's where I guess what I'm saying is a game quality. I don't care the teams. You'll get one every now and then, but it just doesn't seem like it's great football to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It just doesn't seem like you're getting the best of both of those teams. And like you said, yeah, every once in a while you might get a good game, but man, I remember last year some Thursday night footballs. There was some boring games, man.
Yeah.
Just absolute stinkers, man. That you're just like, wow.
And I still say the biggest mistake. I guess the money drove it for Aikman, but I think Aikman leaving Fox and going to ESPN. I don't know. Something about the production of ESPN. I know we're getting off on a sidetrack, but production of ESPN on Monday Night Football, it just sucks to me. I don't know. I just Fox to me is still the premier network when it comes to the audio, the video quality, everything that kind of comes with the pregame and all that stuff. I just think that Fox is the best.
Yeah, when I'm watching, if I'm watching pregame, I got it on Fox, man, just because I love those dudes, man. Watching Jimmy and Terry and how them guys cutting up, man. Those guys are hilarious, and I always get a good laugh out of those guys. Plus, I feel like they bring really great insight, and I don't think there's really anybody on there that's got
big ego or anything.
Big ego or guys that are like pushing an agenda and trying to say shit for just, shock value or talk shit about the Cowboys or whatever. They're honest with their opinion. If they think the Cowboys are good, they're going to say, hey, the Cowboys are good. If they think the Cowboys aren't good, they say, hey, I don't think the Cowboys are great. Now, Jimmy obviously still has, you could tell he's got love for the Cowboys, and he tends to kind of side with the Cowboys a little bit more, but he is objective. Yeah, he does call it like he sees it. So I don't know. That's my favorite.
No, I'll be watching them back. I used to watch them exclusively, and then with Michael Irvin, I just love Michael Irvin.
Oh yeah,
I am under protest. I'm not.
Now is he back?
No,
he's not back. He's still not brought back to the network.
Hasn't yet. And if I was him, I wouldn't go back there. I don't know the way he was treated. I'm not going to watch that. I'm not watching their show and their post game. They used to have a really good post game where they showed the highlights. That kind of went to crap. I mean, you had Irvin and Dion with it. That was just the best time. But I know that you can't have that. But I mean, they ran through LT was good. They had Davis. They had all these other guys. But it always seems to be something. But Michael Irvin, the way they did Michael Irvin, man, I'm done. I'm done.
I mean, the guy, the guy, it's kind of that whole thing was already debunked, man. So I feel like he should be able to get hopefully some network brings him back and then he starts getting, because man, shit, I sure would, I didn't never watch First Take, but I sure as hell did love watching First Take on Monday when Irvin joined, when Michael Irvin was on the show. Yeah. I was going to tune in every Monday just because I didn't want to miss what he was going to say, man. He delivered it. He delivered his sermon from the pulpit of First Take. And I love that, man. And, I love Michael Irvin. I love the passion that he brings because I feel like he's a fan like us.
Absolutely.
He comes off like we do. Passionate, loves the Cowboys. He loves the star, I love Irvin, man. So give me all the playmaker that I can get, man. So
it'll be interesting. The best ever. Let me see what Dion did that. Now you're gonna get me reminiscing.
I remember that. What was that? Prime? You said if you ball, you get the call.
Yeah.
If you ball, you get the call.
The best ever. There was a play, and I can't remember. Dion and Michael used to do the highlights, and they would just do the highlights like we're just talking, you and I on the show. We're just watching it, and we just give a reaction. And they showed this dude got blasted. I mean, blasted. And he tried to get up, and he staggered. They staggered, and you just hear Michael Irvin and Dion. Stay down, brother. Stay down. They stumbles with it. Just those little one-liners and those natural reactions that they do when they're watching it. Man, I love that
Yeah.
show, man. They were the
No,
best.
they were a great. That was a great combo, man. You know,
Yeah.
there's been some good ones, but that was definitely a great combo right there when it comes to announcers. But and that's the thing too, man, is that not only just loving the game of football, but also loving to listen and watch somebody else that loves it as much as you do, and you can hear in their voice, and they're passionate about the game and stuff, and the way they call it. Probably, I mean, like I said, I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but
That's all right.
But Chris Berman is one of my favorites. I love Berman, man. And for any sport though, because he'll do baseball. He's done the home run derbies.
Home run derby forever.
When he calls them in the ways the Raiders.
Yeah.
That
Well, it was him and Tom Jackson on primetime. Now,
man. Like
that's
those guys.
That's what we grew up on.
Yeah, those guys are fucking awesome, man. Like I love watching those guys. And then his every time I hear the when somebody hits a home run, I always hear his voice back. Like he's awesome, man. But he's one of my favorites too, man. I love hearing that shit like that. So
that's I love those guys bring it. Like I saw in the chat earlier, like Michael, Madden and Summerall. I mean, that's that was what I grew up on. Those guys, and they were always doing the NFC, so they were always doing a lot of Cowboy games, especially in the 90s. I mean, they almost did every Cowboy game there was when they were on their Super Bowl run. So Scott Case could bring it. Scott Case, Ernie Mills, I think it wasn't Ernie Mills on our show. We talked about Scott Case laid him out in the Super Bowl 30. That man brought it. That man brought it. But yeah. So anyway, back to the conversation. Let's rally the troops again. So the thing about Dak, and I know it's always the hot subject, and it's what it's a hot button that people always talk about. We talked about. So you saw last year's Dak. Was that an anomaly, or is that something that we're just that's what he is? Turnovers, because we talked about it. His turnovers doubled percentage-wise, more than doubled than any other time in his career. He's typically been about 1.7, 1.8%, and I think he went up to like 3.7 or 3 point something. So it was definitely a huge increase in the turnovers with interceptions. Do you see that continuing, or is this, hey man, just chill out?
I don't see it continuing, because I think prior to that, Dak was a very careful quarterback with the ball. He was very careful with the ball. I think that I really do think, and I'm not going to blame it all. Look, Dak gets his share of the blame. But again, if you go back and you watch every one of his interceptions last year, that he had, close to half of those interceptions were tipped balls that were bouncing off a receiver's hand. And I never played at the NFL level, but I did play wide receiver in high school. And my wide receivers coach used to say, if the ball hits your hands, you should catch it. No excuses, right? Because I'd be like, well, it went off my fingertips or whatever. Doesn't matter. If the ball hits your hands, you should catch it, right? And that's the philosophy I always look at. So he had several of those where they bounced off. And then he had, a few more that were because of wide receivers not running the right routes. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because they just weren't comfortable in the routes that they were getting assigned or what. But, Dak Prescott had at least half of his interceptions that were just fluky, bad luck, just shit. I don't see that happening again. I don't see that happening this year. I think the offense is going to be more set up to cater to Dak's abilities, because here's the thing with Dak, and this is not a knock on Dak Prescott, because you can be an elite quarterback, you can be a top of the top quarterback and not have to throw the ball 30 games. Look at Jalen Hurts last year. Now, I'm not saying Dak Prescott can run the ball like Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts was not throwing the ball 30 to 35 times a game. Hell, there were sometimes he was barely throwing it 22 times a game. I mean, he wasn't throwing it a lot. They leaned on their run game. They leaned on those, the run option passes. With Dak, he's a guy that you can motion him out in the pocket, get him out of the pocket, get him mobile. He throws well on the run.
He does.
And you have to cater this offense to do things around Dak. And I think McCarthy is smart enough to do that. And I'm excited about it, because I don't think Kellen Moore ever saw that. I just think Kellen Moore tried to push the envelope and be like, we're going to be a pass-heavy offense. Here, let's let Dak throw it 40 times a game and let's see what happens. And the result was never great. So it's just like, if you see that, and that your quarterback's struggling with that, or that your wide receiver group is not the greatest and most talented group, and that Noah Brown is a guy getting the majority of the time, then switch it up. Yeah. Switch it up. You know what I mean? And Kellen Moore just didn't do that. And I don't think he did Dak any favors. And again, like I said, Dak does have to play better. Absolutely, he's got to play better. Not making excuses for him. But I absolutely think that Dak can be a quarterback that is very accurate, throws a hell of a deep ball, and I think he can cut down on those interceptions. And if he does, I think that the sky is the limit for this Cowboys team this year, man, because I think that he can have an outstanding season.
Now, I would agree, and Steve and Double Star and Mark and Ultra. I mean, they saying a lot of good points, and I think with to Steve's point, the consistency, and I mean, how many guys have we interviewed here that former players and stuff that they all come back to the same thing when you bring up Dak Prescott and the Cowboys: consistency. I mean, we've talked quarterbacks who played the game. You had Brad Johnson, you had even Malik Rozier from the U. You had, Craig Morton. You had all these guys that played this position, and they all come back when you talk about Dak. Consistency is the problem. He'd have the game like he did against Tampa, and then he'd have a game like he did against Washington, or, a game like he did against some other team, and just lay an egg. And that's what we need to see. Now, I think, can coaching help that? Can McCarthy help that? Can McCarthy, and Schottenheimer, and really, Scott Tolzien, the QB coach, he's new as well. What he can bring. He's not his buddy. I mean, all the friends are gone. There's no more buddies. I mean, these are all other guys. So they can have. I think you're going to get those conversations. Maybe that Dak needs. Maybe that hard conversations. Hey, you got to look at this. Take the easy play. There's no reason to go here. Take the 5 yards. Let CD do his thing.
Yeah,
I think I think Mark said it. Yeah, Mark said, I think Dak needs to use his legs more, and I think he needs to use them in a smart way. Kind of did it some more last year, but it always frustrates me when I see I'm seeing him back there, and you need 6 yards, and there's nobody near you, and you're like, man, you can get 6 yards and just slide. Yeah, he's not going to go 50 yards down the field, but get the first down and get another set of downs and go. That's the kind of running I want to see from Dak Prescott. I want him to be smart with it. And again, to Ultra, if the receiver's running wrong route, that's coaching. We can't put that on Dak. But to Ultra, Dak needs to play big in the playoffs. That is just the way it is.
Yeah.
You're the quarterback. Romo, we could get in a huge thing with Romo, and he's so polarizing, and we can get, but at the end of the day, he didn't get it done in the playoffs for whatever reason. You guys can make up excuses. You could do this, you could do that. I say that he had the ability, he had the players, he had teams that can get it done. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. And unfortunately for Dak, he's following along those same lines. He's got to get it done in the playoffs.
Yep.
We just got, that's it. We can't keep defending them if you don't get it done in the playoffs, because then we just become, those other fans of other teams that just kind of get satisfied with certain things. We want to win Super Bowls, period.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you start winning games in the postseason, then the narrative starts to change about Dak Prescott and about, and he's the one that has power to change those narratives about how he is. Because now, here's what drives me crazy, though, because they showed a graphic today, and I think you had retweeted it. I think I retweeted it. It was a graphic about who's thrown the quarterbacks that have thrown the most interceptions through the last 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. Which Dak's season last year really inflated that number. If you didn't have that season of last year, he's not even on that list, right? But last year did happen. We can't take that away. But the thing is, I think a guy like Josh Allen gets a little bit more of a pass just because of the fact that he has gone deeper in the playoffs than Dak. But Justin Herbert, who's a guy that all these guys talk about to say that he's always above Dak in every metric that you see on all the quarterback lists. They've always got him better than Dak. But what has he done to earn that? Because if I'm looking at the two quarterbacks, I get it. Justin Herbert throws a nice ball. He does. But you know what? So does Dak. Because I'm not going to – can't just sit there if you're a Cowboys fan and tell me that you have not seen Dak Prescott throw a pretty ball. There's times, there's been plays, there has been throws where he's thrown the ball and I've been like, holy shit, how did he fit it in that window? some tight windows. And there was one play, and it was a Cleveland Browns game. That's that game that we lost. I was down in Texas and went fucking nuclear in a restaurant because there was Browns fans in there. In Dallas, Texas, there was Browns fans. But anyway, I mean, Dak Prescott threw this pass in between two defenders, and it even juked out the cameraman. The cameraman thought one of the DBs intercepted it, so the camera for a split second kind of followed the DB, and then it goes back. Mari Cooper's got the ball, and he's running downfield. So, man, Dak has thrown some beautiful passes, man. So he can absolutely be accurate with the ball. He can move the ball, get the ball downfield. Just got to cut down on the turnovers, man. And I think that's going to take care of itself. I think that the front office did great by getting him a guy like Brandon Cooks in here. I think that Gallup's going to be better in year 2 coming back from that injury. I think that, they added another tight end, so that's another weapon for him. Deuce Vaughn, we haven't really touched too much on him.
No, we'll get into that. Yeah.
He's going to be a guy that's going to be underrated in the passing game too, man, because for anybody that has not seen Deuce Vaughn play, go look up some Deuce Vaughn highlights. There is a highlight of Deuce Vaughn making a dive, full out, arms outreached, diving catch in the corner of the end zone and caught that ball. Like, Deuce Vaughn can catch the ball. Yeah. That man can catch the rock, and he's going to be an X factor in the passing game. I mean, they can line that guy up anywhere, man. He's a Swiss Army knife. So,
no, 100%. I just want to make one comment because I agree with Steve about the Murray fumble. Valid excuse. The only thing I'll say, and you don't kill me for it, but if you want to, you guys, Kelly, you can. Romo always went for the big play. He had Cole Beasley wide open. It was 4th down. He had Beasley wide open inside. It would have been 4 more downs. He went for the home run with Dez. It didn't happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm not blaming him. But I'm not going to give any excuses to any quarterback. Like I said, quarterbacks unfortunately live and die by their playoff performance. And with Romo, it just didn't. For whatever reason, it just didn't happen. And I think he was a great quarterback. Probably talent-wise, the most talented Cowboys quarterback. I mean, if you're just talking just talent. But it takes more than sometimes talent to win Super Bowls and stuff like that. So anyway, we're putting too much. What was that?
He said we're putting too much faith in a guy that can't, and a player, a running back that is not tall enough to ride a roller coaster ride. The height requirements. That's a good one.
Man, we ain't gonna hate on that.
Hey, but listen,
I seen some good things. Real quick, and we want to talk about Deuce too. This is, I need this in a Jerry voice because I don't know if you remember that with Brandon Weeden. Remember Jerry was.
Now, I don't think anybody throws a prettier ball than Brandon Weeden. Have you seen him throw the ball? When he does, you want to stop and take a picture, a mental picture, because I don't think anybody throws a prettier ball than Brandon. We're in good hands with Brandon Weeden at the helm. I promise you that. I really do.
Yeah, that worked out real well.
Hey, man, Jerry could sell fucking, a liquid popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
I'm telling you what is tell me, I don't know if you guys in the chat, when Jerry Jones does that first training camp press conference, you want to, I'm ready to roll, man. I almost need to do a hype video after that because I've listened to it when our teams were terrible, and I'm like, God damn it, man! I think he's making some points. We might have a shot here. We just get a
Well,
he
better. He sells it like nobody else. You know what I mean? He'll sit there and he'll tell you, now I've had a lot of teams. I was a part of the 92 Super Bowl winning team that just rolled through everybody. This team's got a little bit of 92 in them. They really do. They've got some 92. And when I say 92, I mean we've got some dogs on this team. And then you're sitting there going, wait a second, he shades a 92? We're going to fucking Super Bowl, Jerry. Hell yeah. Like he could fucking just hype you up and sell you on that shit. And, fuck, the guy was sitting there talking about, when we let go, when Dez Bryant and they got rid of Dez Bryant, we like the guys we have type shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe he's got a point. Maybe we don't need Dez Bryant on this run. We don't need no number 1 wide receiver. We got guys, guys all over. And
we're going to make it Dak friendly. We're bringing in a man, Alan Hearns from the U. We got a couple of guys. And this thing's gonna work out great. And I was like, "Yeah, man, that sounds like it makes sense. Let's ride with it." And
Absolutely fucking not.
And then they go ahead and tell me my season tickets just got increased by $30 a game. You know, that's how they do it. They get you hyped up and say, "Well, I'll pay $30 to see these guys. You know, going to the Super Bowl. I feel pretty good about it." So, but no, I saw that. I just remember that Brandon Weeden.
I remember that shit too.
And I think I was at that game. Who the hell did they play? The Falcons. Was it the Falcons? Maybe he played it.
I think so.
We got absolutely our ass kicked if my memory's right. I don't know if it is or not, but talking about Deuce, and of course, you know, you could talk about the height. I think you could take that as an advantage, and we've had people on. Joe Washington, a Redskin.
Yep.
You know, he talked about it. He said, you know, there is an advantage. I mean, one, you don't want to get hit. I mean, the disadvantage is don't get hit straight up, but the advantage is they're hard to hit. Lower center of gravity. You got these bigger guys. You can kind of hide behind the linemen so they can't get a good visual. So I think there's some benefits. Now, he's not going to be a 30 carry guy. He's not going to be a 20 carry guy. He's not going to be. I wouldn't even think he's going to be a 10 carry guy. But I think he's a dynamic playmaker. And like you said, go watch the tape. I mean, I'm feeling good with him. I don't know.
I like him. You know, it's you know, he's a guy that, I mean, honestly, he's a guy that can get lost behind the line of scrimmage. Honestly, he's behind these big, massive offensive linemen. Some of these defensive guys might not even see where the fuck he's at. They don't know what hole he's going to pop out of. But I mean, I like him, man, because here's the thing. I don't know how many carries they're going to give him to start out. I saw somebody in here, though, did in the chat earlier. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ronnie that said his bold prediction was that Deuce doesn't make the roster. I don't buy that for a split.
There's no way.
Making the roster. He is on this roster 100% solidified. I would put any amount of money on that. He's making the roster. But here's the thing. What I like about Deuce Vaughn is what he'll be able to bring in the passing game, because he's a guy that you can line up in the backfield, but then you can move him out. You can get a mismatch and get him on a linebacker, and that is going to be hard ask for a linebacker to cover a guy like Deuce Vaughn, who is not only he's a smaller guy, but he's shifty, he's speedy, and when he gets the ball in open field, he's hard to tackle. And remember, this guy played football in the Big 12, man. And I'm not saying the Big 12 is known for being the best defensive league, because trust me, in the Big 12, they run up points. They're running up and down. But there's still some star defensive players in college football in the Big 12. And Deuce Vaughn made some of them dudes look silly. I mean, I saw it. Texas Tech had a pretty damn good defense this last year. Their defense was one of the better defenses in the Big 12. And man, Deuce Vaughn fucking gave us some fits in that game when we played him last year. I mean, absolute fits. So the guy can make plays, man. How many plays he's going to make for us and how much he's going to be, how big of a part of the offense he'll be is still yet to be seen. But, you know, I'm sure not a lot of guys probably thought Kenneth Walker was going to come out and have the season that he was going to have last year. I'm pretty sure.
This guy did. I saw what he did against my Hurricanes. He ran for about 300 yards. I think he's still running against our.
Yeah, well, and was that Breece Hall for the Jets? I mean, you know, the season that he came out and had. Hey, and Ultra, look, I'm not arguing with you about that, man. Big 12 is not the SEC. Absolutely not the SEC. And I'm going to tell you this right now. When the Texas Longhorns roll into the SEC, I will be watching them every Saturday to make sure they get that ass whooped thoroughly so I can talk shit to Longhorns fans.
Yeah, but I tell you what, SEC, all that's changing. All that's changing with the transfer portal, NIL. It's about the money. And I'm telling you guys what, there's a hell of a lot of money in Texas. So, watch Texas. I mean, I know you don't want to hear, but Texas A&M, Texas, USC, Alabama does not have. That's why Nick Saban is. You listen to him talk about it. Alabama don't have the pockets. That's not a rich school. Auburn has more money than Alabama if they want to start digging the pockets and doing the NIL. That's what I'm saying. Because even a team like Miami, that's what concerns. Miami's not we're a private school. It's not a rich school with heavy donors that. You know, with the alumni, they're not as deep. So I'm saying this thing could change the landscape of college football. Absolutely. SEC is still the powerhouse, but I'm just saying, watch it, because some of these other schools, you might be surprised. I mean, Texas went into the SEC for a reason, obviously the money, but it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. I know you don't want to hear that.
I think. Well, here's my thing: is that I think that when it comes to paying players, I think that the NCAA within the next couple of years is going to end up coming in and putting some type of a cap on it. I don't really know how that works or what that looks like, but I just don't see them right now. It's kind of like the wild, wild west. And they just kind of opened up that Pandora's box. And right now the NCAA is sitting back like, well, let's see how this plays out. Let's see how it plays out. But in any sport, if you want, if you want competition, if you want not necessarily even a level playing field, but if you want other schools to have a chance, like these mid-tier schools that don't have the money that the Texases have, that even teams like an Oklahoma, A&M, those kind of schools, Oklahoma State, they have a billionaire guy who gives. So, schools like that, if you don't want to see schools like that consistently, those are the guys that are in the national championship. Meanwhile, all these other guys never have a chance. That just really takes away from the sport, because then you've got people like, why even fucking watch? You're like, okay, well, I know my team doesn't have a chance in hell, because how are they going to compete against these other schools who can pay, tens of millions of dollars to their players a year, while our budget is half that? So they're going to have to find some kind of medium to fix that. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like that if they don't, the college football game could very quickly go downhill in terms of, just revenue.
I don't know. Maybe Kelly, or maybe someone in the chat knows. So let's say I recruit you. I get you to come to Texas Tech, and I give you $1 million. Work out a little thing. You transfer the next year. What happens to that $1 million? You keep it?
That I don't know. I think when you get paid, I don't, and that's the other thing too, is I've wondered about, because there's not any, I haven't really looked to see and get any clarity on that. So like if you go to like you said, if you go to a Texas or a Texas Tech, they pay you that money. Well, then Florida comes knocking next year, or a Miami, and they say, hey, you know what? We're willing to one up that offer. Instead of the $1 million, we'll pay you 1.1 million. And you're like, all right, yeah, I'll take it and transfer. But are there contracts that they have to sign that say, hey, you have to stay here for 2 years?
I don't think, like the kid who went to Dion at Jackson State, he shunned Florida State, went to Jackson State, and he got a bag of money. I mean, good for him, but he just transferred out of there because obviously Dion left, and so I'm sure the money went with him. I mean, what do you get? You can't go after. So I don't know. I guess to your point, I guess I want to solidify your point of they're going to have to do something, because it's going to it's going to get out of control. And you're getting a lot of guys leaving. I mean, look how many guys, a lot of offensive linemen from Alabama transferred out. So you're getting all these guys moving all over the place. It's almost becoming like free agency, and it's going to get interesting in college football. I mean, I love college football, not as much as the NFL, but I love college football. But can be tax and charity donation.
Now, Ultra over here firing shots at me now. let me just tell you, Ultra, that last year Texas Tech, for the first time in a long time, won 8 games, and we beat Texas and Oklahoma in the same season for the first time in the history of our program. And our head coach that we got is one hell of a recruiter. We got our first top 15 recruiting class ever. So just take it easy on your boy, okay?
I know, man. What the hell?
Firing shots over here, man, at me. I don't know what's going on, Ultra. I've been on your side, man. I'm trying to be you're making it hard though.
No, man, but yeah, so we could talk. We may get into some college football when the season starts, because we got some passion, and then you mix that in. Hopefully, Miami. Praying Miami. I just had Malik Rozier. We're messaging back and forth on Twitter. He didn't accept my challenge. He laughed at because I made a little joke at him, just to make sure he knew it was there, because they rated Dak. He rated Purdy and Jones ahead of Dak Prescott. And so then I saw a thing where they rated the top NFC quarterbacks. They had Dak rated second. Well, I say, well, at least Purdy and Jones aren't ahead of him. He liked it, but I gave him a challenge, a dinner at Ocean's Prime. He didn't accept it, so obviously he knows he's feeding the ESPN narrative that Dak is not a good quarterback. I think Dak is in the NFC. I would say he's top 2. Maybe I'm wrong. In the NFL, I would say you'd put him top 8. I think after you get past Mahomes, maybe Burrow, I think you can throw a lot of those guys in a blender You can pick whatever one you like, but it always amazes me how Herbert always gets that pass.
Yeah,
he got embarrassed in the playoffs, up 27 or whatever it was, and lost. And it was like a 2-second clip. We're still talking about Dak Prescott in the playoff game against the 49ers. Oh, by the way, the 49ers were the number what? They were the number 2 seed. It wasn't like the Cowboys went in as the big favorites and laid an egg like they did 2 years ago. The Chargers. The only reason the game was in Jacksonville is because the Jacksonville won a crappy division and they got the home game, but the Chargers had the game in their hand, blowing them out and blew it. And this guy gets a pass, and I just don't understand it. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't see the same intensity on him as much as it always comes back to the Cowboys quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely think that in the NFC. My whole problem right now, and I'm just going to be honest with you, man, and maybe just the Cowboys fan of me and the fact that I can't stand Philadelphia, man. But Jalen Hurts gets the nod at the number 1 spot right now by a lot of people because of what he did last year, and then he got in the Super Bowl, right? Okay. But he's only been in the league 2 years, man, and his first year was not impressive. So he's got one really good year to his credit, right? I need to see some consistency, though, because I've seen this story before, man. We saw it with Carson Wentz. 2017 was his almost MVP season that the Eagles went and won the Super Bowl, and everybody was crowning him and giving him, saying he's the reason why we got to the Super Bowl because we secured, a top seed, blah, 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 whatever, all this other shit. We all know how that story played out, though, right?
Yeah.
And this year, Jalen Hurts has got a new offensive coordinator. He's still got, his playmakers that he's got, which he does have some good playmakers. He's got a good Dallas Goedert at the tight end. He's got, Devontae Smith, which is no slouch. And you got A.J. Brown, who had a great year last year. But I just need to see it more than having 1 year.
No.
1 year, in my opinion, don't put you at the top of the heap, man. I got to see some consistency, man. And I don't know, man. I know you've talked about how you like Jalen Hurts, and I mean, me personally, it's not that I don't like the kid. I think he's got some great. I feel like he's got a lot of Dak in him in terms of leadership qualities and the way that he talks and the way that the things that he says and composes himself on the field. I just don't know that I'm buying into Hurts as being that guy, man. And I think that if at the end of this next year, I think when we look back at it, I think Dak's going to have the better season. I do.
No, and if you're going to tell me that right now I got to pick a guy, they're the same age, everything's equal, I'll take Dak. I mean, but I'm going to listen, it's, I got to play mind games, man. Let him put him up top. Let him have that. Yeah. At the end of the day, the thing that pisses me off, and I get so frustrated with the rank. Oh, this quarterback's ranked here. Rank him wherever the hell you want. Fine, whatever. Put Daniel Jones ahead of him. Put Purdy ahead of him. Put whoever you want. Because at the end of the day, all I care about, and I know all you care about and all the Cowboy fans, give me the Super Bowl. Give me the Super Bowl. Say what the hell you want about him and just give me the Super Bowl and let him prove everything wrong. I think Dak is always best with the back against the wall. And they can all say they don't hear it, but I mean, everyone's human. I mean, you and I talk about it. I get people that trash me on social media. They trash you on social media. Yeah, maybe we don't respond, but we hear it. I mean, we see it. These guys get it 1,000 times more than a couple schlubs like us would get it. And anyone else on Twitter that you get in these battles with people, you still read it. You still, So I like that. I want Dak to feel like he's, some hate on him. Feel like he's not being appreciated. Let him go out with a chip on his shoulder. Let him prove the people wrong. And I think that's what I'm hoping to see from Dak. Hurts is a good quarterback, but like I said, I think it was in the playoff game. He barely threw for. Now, granted, it was a weird game against the 49ers, but I don't even think he hardly even threw the ball that much. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I want Hurts, Dak healthy. Let's bring it. Let's bring it this year.
I do absolutely because they beat us without Dak. We beat them without Hurts. But at the end of the day, if you look at the two games, right? I don't know that Hurts is the difference maker in that game because I'm not saying that their backup quarterback played bad in that game where we dropped 40 on them, but I know for damn sure that our fucking quarterback in the first game that we lost to the Eagles played a shit game. What did he? I think Cooper Rush had what, 2 interceptions? Three picks. Okay, so I don't think Dak's having 3 picks in that game, and honestly,
game got interesting. I was there with Marcus Spears. That game got interesting for a little bit.
Yeah, I think with and it's here's the thing, Eagles fans are going to say we would have won that game if we would have had Hurts, and Dak fans are saying we would have won that. Cowboys fans are saying we would have won that game had we had Dak. So guess what? We'll find out this year, and it's it's a healthy rivalry, man. I mean, we fucking hate Philadelphia. We hate them. We want to beat them, but I do like it. Don't get me wrong. I love to beat their heads in. I just beat the shit out of them. But I also like it when it's interesting and both teams are good. So I wouldn't mind having a Dak Prescott and Hurts rivalry for the next, 5 years to where, it's a toss up between the Cowboys and the Eagles for the NFC every year.
Yeah.
We're going, you know what I mean? Because it makes things interesting, gives you shit to talk about. It gives you a reason to hate the Eagles a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna look at that, Dak is year than when you come up with it, Dak is gonna have the better season than Hurts, and hopefully Dak makes that playoff run, man, and ends up with some hardware.
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. Now we've been mean to the Philly a little bit, the last few days, and let's we got to keep that going. That's too good. But you gotta feel bad for the other team in our division. Do you feel bad for one of the teams in our division? Do you know what team I'm talking about or no? You need a clue?
Are we talking about the Commanders?
Yeah. Did you see that they might have to change their name again?
I did, because they tried to trademark it and the trademark was denied. Hey, maybe we can get our boy Washington on the committee. We call him back and say, hey, because he had the idea of them being the Washington Warriors, remember?
Yeah.
Because he was against them ever changing the Redskins, and he said, hey, Washington Warriors, still with an Indian. See, as much I don't care for them. I don't care what the hell they name them. They can go back to being the whatever the fucks. But I like that, the Washington Warriors. That's got a nice ring to it, man. If I'm a Washington fan, I like that. But Kelly needs a Carl Smith hug. I need a Carl Smith hug about as much as I need a fucking enema tomorrow morning. No, thank you. No, man.
Yeah, what do they do? What do you do? I
don't know, man.
Should they just be the football team and say, you know what, we'll just stick with that? It's people got used to it.
I don't know, man, but I'll tell you what, man, if they're going to have to rename their team and they're going to have to rebrand it again, I'll tell you what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to hire a completely different fucking marketing team than the one that came up with the football team and then decided the Commanders was a good way to go, because, I mean, that was the stupidest 2 fucking names they could have gone with. I mean, when they were the Washington football team, that was when I was called, because it was WFT and I kept calling them the whatever the fucks because WTF. And then they doubled down on it and they said the Commanders, and they came out like that was some big upgrade. And I'm like, should have just kept the football team for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just felt so awkward, right? When they were calling the games, the Washington football team, it's just like, what the fuck? It just not, it don't roll off the tongue. That's for damn sure.
No, they're going to have to do something. Now, the great thing is we're going to have Jeff Bostic on in a few weeks. And I, the timing will probably be good for this, because I asked him, I said, I always try and be respectful. I say, look, man, how do you want me to say? You want me to say just Washington? Do you want me to call you the Commanders? Or what do you come to? He goes, I don't know what the hell a commander is. I'm a Redskin. Like that. I said, well, that's all I need to know.
Well, it was like Joe, when Joe Washington was talking about it, I thought he summed it up perfectly. He said that he thought the logo and the name Redskin, he never once thought of it as being derogatory. He thought that it was that
It was
he
pride.
was always proud. He said he was
Yeah.
proud, like a proud warrior, and he was proud to wear that on the side of his helmet. And and so I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, like me, I still catch myself saying we're playing the Redskins. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm 42 years old. They changed their name a couple years ago. So for the last, 23, 24 years or whatever, I've been I'm calling them the Washington Redskins. So it's just hard I'll sit there. They'll be like, who are you playing this? But yeah, we're playing the Washington Redskins, and I don't know. It's just, it's habit. And I don't know. I agree with Joe Washington on that one, man. I didn't really think that the name change needed to be done. But again, like he said, he was also sensitive towards, people that were offended. But, it is what it is. But yeah, it's really funny that their trademark got denied, because if they have to change their name again, that's just going to be funny as shit. Because I mean, think about it. If you're a fan, you're a fan that wants to have current merchandise. You had to get rid of the football team. Now you got to get the Commander, and now you may have to do it again a third time in 3-4 years. That's it's got to be tough on the old pocketbook.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be easy. We didn't even get into Tolbert. He was on with I know West Coast had it, but I forgot the other guy. I apologize, but I like West Coast. He was on the show and really gave some good insight on stuff. And he's just a good kid. I mean, like I said, I kind of know him indirectly, don't know him personally, but I know his character indirectly because a friend of mine, his son played the same school at South Alabama, and they always said very high things about him, about everything about him. So it's just, you pull for kids like that. I mean, you pull for a kid like that. So I am hoping that he can be, get that potential, live up to the potential of being that draft pick, and just be right now, if you look at we didn't even really get too deep in the receivers because it's pretty solidified, right? You got CD, you got Gallup, you got Cooks. Those are your top three. Probably Cooks number 2. But if Tolbert could go in there and be the 4, man, and he could play to the potential that we saw in South Alabama, I mean, that's pretty nice. And then you sprinkle in some Deuce and some Turpin, this and that's it's a pretty good offensive depth you have and some weapons.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing, man, is that, Tuck had a deal on his where he was talking about on his podcast, and he said that some Cowboys fans will root against the guy just because they want to be right when they have an opinion on a player, right? Like they're like, if this guy was a horrible draft pick, we should have never got him. And instead of rooting for the kid to be a success, they'd rather be right than to be proven wrong by this kid showing out, right? I've never been that way, man. I don't give a shit who they draft, who they sign, who they trade for. If they make a trade, they make a sign. If they draft a guy, I'm 110% wanting that guy to succeed, because if you're rooting against that, you're rooting against the Cowboys, because ultimately, if these guys don't succeed as a team, we don't succeed, right? And there's been a lot of people that have said, hey, he was a wasted pick. He didn't get on the field last year, but he was expecting him to contribute right away. But it was his first year, and not everybody's the same. Not everybody can come in right away and contribute. Not everybody's going to come in right away and be a playmaker. Some take a little bit longer. It was a little disturbing for me last year that he couldn't beat out a guy like Noah Brown, because I don't think Noah Brown's good at all. So that was a little bit disturbing, but he's a rookie, man. And for some rookies, maybe the learning curve is a little bit more hard to catch on than others. So, we'll find out a little bit more this year. Been hearing some good things about him, man. OTAs are going on. We'll have training camp in full swing soon. So we'll see. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you're probably gonna see a lot of him in the preseason.
I hope you do, because you really didn't. I don't know.
He didn't get very many opportunities last year in the preseason. He was on the field, but he didn't get very many targets. So I feel like you want to work him into the game plan a little bit more in the preseason to see what he can bring to the table and see, hey, look, this guy, he's either got it or he doesn't. But he's definitely a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing in the preseason. Tolbert will have at least 300 yards, mark my words, and I think he'll have as many as 5. If he had 5 to 600 yards in
that would be huge
season, I'd call that a win. I'd call that in, because outside of CD Lamb last year, we didn't really have any receivers that were at that mark. I think our next guy was Schultz, I believe, was the next in terms of yardage. And then after that, it was a pretty big drop off. So if we got, 500-600 yards out of Tolbert, that is an absolute win. Because, he'd be doing that obviously in like the number 4 receiver role. So yeah, just get him worked into the offense, see what he can do, man. And I'm rooting for the kid, man.
Yeah. No, I want him to succeed. Like I said, I think he's a great kid. I want him to succeed. And like I said, it pains me that Charleston Rambo from the U is on Philadelphia. Now, I'm glad he got his shot. He played well in the XFL to get that opportunity. So you pull for guys like that. And I hope he does well. I think he'll probably not make the Philly team, but maybe he gets enough looks to where, because they've got a lot of depth there, but maybe he shows enough to where he can jump on another team. But I've never rooted for any kid to fail, man. No. I mean, to play at that level, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of toughness. And, some guys just, it's like we talked about, what was it, Anthony Thompson, whoever it was. I mean, I just remember as a kid from Indiana, I didn't even know Ian played with him. But the guy was like unbelievable, 1,800 yards rushing. It was crazy. And he couldn't do nothing in the NFL. He just couldn't make that transition. And a lot of guys don't. And there's a reason why majority of the league is filled with 5th, 6th, 7th, and undrafted players, and not a lot of first rounders and not a lot of second. There's a lot of bust in there. And it's just guys that when you get to the NFL, do they have what it takes to get to the next level? You just don't know. That's why you're never going to, at least for me, maybe Kelly, you do it. I don't know. I don't give draft grades. I don't get an A, B, or C, because I don't know what the hell any of these guys are going to do. Ask me in a couple years. Because you just don't know. And it all sounds great. And I know a lot of people hated, the Schoonmaker, and you should have drafted Kincaid. Was it Kincaid? Whoever it was, you should have drafted. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. What the hell do I know? I've never even seen one of them play. So I have no knowledge of it. If you asked me to draft a tight end, I said get my boy from the U, because I saw him play every game and I liked him. But you know what I'm saying. So I just say give these guys a chance. Let's see what happens, and hopefully they live up to what we want them to do to win a championship.
I agree, man, and I'm a big a big analogy guy. I like to make analogies and compare one thing to another. And when it comes to the draft, man, I compare it to looking at a hot chick. I see these guys that are studs and all the big players. It's like meeting a hot chick, right? She's got the perfect body. She's got the pretty eyes. She's got a great smile. You start dating her and you realize she's a complete fucking wacko, right? And then you're like, Jesus, she wasn't all she was cracked up to be, man. You know what I mean? And that's what it is with some of these draft picks, man. You don't really know, man, until you get them, because college is different than the NFL. And you're right. If you look back over the last, throughout the entire history of the league, you look at these number 1 picks and then go back and look at all 32 first round picks, and you look at that roster, every single roster, look at that in 3 to 4 years, over half of those guys aren't even on the teams anymore. They've either been traded, they've either been cut, they're not even in the league anymore. They're on a practice squad. They've been bounced to 2 or 3, they're on their second team already. Like, there's not a lot of guys that stick, man. And it's just the cold hard facts, man. And like you said, a lot of the rosters are made up of guys who were picked in some of the later rounds, the 2nd through 5th rounds, 6th rounds, some guys that are undrafted guys that slipped through the cracks that for whatever reason they fell off people's draft boards. And those are the guys that come in and make up the meat and potatoes of a roster. So yeah, I think that draft grades I think they're just they're pointless. Because
it's entertainment. It's entertainment, and it gives you something to do. And I love, I know EJ, he's been on the show. He knows his players, man. I watched him for 2 hours on this thing. I mean, there's and J Tuck and some of these guys, they put a lot of work into it, and they know him. That's why I'm not going to critique it. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, he's wrong. This was the wrong pick or this is the right pick, because I just don't know. I can give you a few guys on the Southeast, ACC. I know some guys that watch, but you just don't know how it translates over. And that's why, because the thing I'll say is when I was a kid, it was always amazed me how, like, Miami or how these big schools all of a sudden you get Leon Lett from Emporia State, and you get Larry Allen from Sonoma State. You get these guys in these small colleges. How the hell did they not go to Alabama and Miami?
Yeah.
Because you just don't know how things translate into the NFL and the mental toughness. You saw the kid that got drafted from the Eagles. You know, he should have been at the top pick, right? And he got a little trouble. He drops to 10 because of character stuff and making bad choices. And what the hell's he doing? He's on Instagram, getting in trouble again with videos. You got the basketball player that you made a nice,
Good job, Morant. Yeah.
You don't know how these guys are here because they're all kids. You don't know what money's going to do to them. You don't know what success is going to do them. You don't know anything. So that's why I say it's always just kind of, you just got to wait it out and give them a few years and see what happens. But that's where I say when someone said that Vaughn is going to get cut, a 6th-rounder who put up the numbers that he did, and he's got a father that's a scout, been involved and knows it, who's grounded up.
Yeah.
He's gonna make the team because he's been told no his whole damn career. He was told he couldn't do it. He's never gonna get this. And those are the guys that I want. If we're going down the alley, that's the dudes I want.
Playing with a chip on your shoulder, man. Yeah. And I love the conversation. And if you have not seen the conversation that Deuce Vaughn's dad had with him before the actual call where he was drafted, it was a great conversation because he was talking about, and he said, remember all the morning drives and the talks, and he goes, but when you get here, it's just about playing football. It's what we've been working for. Our whole lives is about playing football. Yeah. We're just playing football. You're throwing on the shoulder pads. You're playing football, man. And this kid, you can tell he loves football. You can tell his dad is passionate about football. You can tell he's probably been a great. So first of all, that right there, instantly though, the fact that his dad has got ties with the organization, I think gives him a little bit longer of a. If he doesn't catch on and immediately start making an impact in his first year, he's not getting cut. Jerry's not cutting that guy. Jerry is a guy that's all about loyalty. Jerry or you don't. Jerry's always been loyal to a fault sometimes. So there's no way he's getting cut, man. Not with having a father that's on the staff. You saw the emotional moment when he got drafted. How his father, Deuce Vaughn's father, was in tears. Everybody in the room was kind of getting choked up about it. So he's absolutely making the roster.
He's gonna earn it though. He's not, he's not asked for no handouts.
No, he's absolutely gonna. Yeah, he'll absolutely earn it, man. He'll absolutely earn it. But you're just not cutting that guy this year, man. I think he'll get plenty of opportunities, and I think he will earn it. And like you said, he's a guy that he's the kind of guy that you want, man. A guy who has something to prove, because everybody right now is telling him that he's too small. He can't do. I remember another running back who people said was too small coming out of college. A guy named Emmitt Smith that wore number 22. Now I'm not saying Deuce is going to be a number 22, but remember all the guys that were the experts were saying he wasn't quick enough. He's too small. He'll never hold up. And hell, the guy ends up as the all-time leading rusher in the NFL. So, you want a guy like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, you just don't know. But it's gonna be interesting. I think Ty. I think Market I don't think he's coming back. If he shows out, they may cut Turpin. I think you talk about Deuce. That was a question because you think about the way special teams is changing with this. I would think if Turpin, if we can't get, and I think that's why you maybe see him more on some offensive plays with some of the OTAs. I think they want to use his skill set. He's going to have to be a little bit more diverse because maybe the kickoffs aren't going to be as impactful. The punts he still could be, obviously, but I think they definitely want to see him more in there because Deuce has some of that return capability. But I don't know if they're going to put him back there. But I think Turpin will be back.
I don't know if they will, but it'll be something interesting to see. Maybe they decide to get him out there and give him a shot at doing some of that. I feel like Turpin kind of has that spot on lock in my personal opinion. I just don't see him going anywhere on this roster in the return game. I think he did enough last year to solidify that spot, and unless he just has some type of dramatic fall off,
I'm waiting for you to read that
for preseason. But the rumor is that they installed a car seat on the team bus, which confirmed Deuce made the team. Man, Ultra is on one tonight,
I
man.
know. I mean,
He's
he's like, he should be a comedic writer or something. We had to get him
yeah,
on the show.
yeah, he's on one tonight. But no, I like. Are you guys happy with our offensive line? Me and Mike have talked about it, and I have mentioned before that I think that that's my, in terms of positional weakness. I think that that is our weak spot right now. Honestly, I feel like that and running back are the two positions that concern me the most. Just because outside of Martin and Tyler Smith, and hopefully Steele comes back healthy, you don't really know what you have outside of that, because you've got this Waletzko kid. I don't really know what he's bringing to the table. We got Biotish, which I mean he's not horrible. He's
No,
pretty
I mean
solid.
he
Solid.
he played well last year and definitely
Yeah,
improved his game.
he's solid. He's solid at the center position. I'm curious to see kind of what they're going to do. That they've do, like you were talking about and we were talking about yesterday, the switching of Steele, possibly moving him out from right tackle to left tackle,
Yeah,
moving Tyron Smith to right. I don't know how well that'll work, because when we talked last night with Ian Beckles, he talked about it. And he said the things that you do the best on the right side of the line are your weaknesses when you move to the left side.
yeah,
So it's not just a given that you can switch a guy like Terrence Steele from right tackle to left tackle and he's just a plug-in guy, because not everybody can make that transition and switch. So I'm just curious of what that lineup, the final lineup's going to be. So I wouldn't say I'm happy with the offensive line. I wouldn't, but I also am confident enough in our staff to think that they'll plug in, and by the time preseason's over, they'll have their rotation set in place on who our starters are, and
yeah.
And if we need to go out and make a guy, get a sign or pick somebody up, that we'll do that. So
Yeah. And I think the depth is just a concern, but I mean, only because of you got Tyron, it's not if but when. I'd love for him to play 17 games, 20 games. That means we get to the Super Bowl and all that kind of good stuff and then win it. But yeah, I just don't know. In Steele, I was trying to remember when his injury was. I had to look back and make it up. So ACL week 14, so it was really late in the year.
yeah, it
And
was.
you don't know where, he's limited. Him and Pollard were both limited in the OTAs. Now, again, we're way early on. I'm not going to get all crazy about it, but you just don't know. And running through the O line of obviously Tyler, you talked about Zach Martin, and you got Tyron Steele, Biotis. Ball, they were playing him at guard. I mean, we saw the disaster at tackle. So I don't know what's going on with him. Then, they had that. I think the kid Lindstrom was an undrafted guy last year. I think he got hurt, but they were kind of high on him. You got Chuma, who they picked up, free agent with the Jets. Really didn't do a whole lot, but he's a guard. Maybe there's something there. And the other guy, Matt, I don't know all these backups, Farnoak or whatever. And then Richards they drafted, so probably not expecting a lot from him. Obviously now, so I think the depth is there could be a concern, but I mean maybe that goes with everyone. But I feel okay with the line. I mean it's not. I don't think we don't have the Great Wall 3 by any stretch,
but I think they'll be good enough.
I think they will as long as we don't run into what we ran into last year, because we got lucky, right? Guys got hurt, guy came back, guy got hurt, guy came back. So you just don't know. But I will say we have our first sponsor. I don't know if you knew that, Kelly. I don't know if we have our first official sponsor. So I want to show them love, and we're gonna show that love next week. Is Cuts by Jones. He sent you boys a couple hats. He told me I could have it on Monday. So I'll be ready to go. And you see the Cuts by Jones is hanging over my head, my family. If you guys need some cool cowboy pieces, I'm going to say Cowboys, but he does everything, right?
He does. The man.
Get an awesome picture of my family first game. So definitely, I know you guys all know him, but definitely look at his work if you haven't. And he does awesome stuff, man, and an even better person. So
yeah, absolutely, man. The guy is awesome, man. I'm gonna be drinking a cold beer with him, man, and about 8 days, I believe. So me and him are gonna get together. I'll be down there in San Antonio and get to go see him in
Oh,
person.
that's awesome.
Gonna go
That's
hang out in Cuts by Jones, the man cave. He's got an impressive cave.
No, he's got
man.
a nice cave too. He's got
Really
a
nice.
beautiful cave and a lot of. I mean, that's a place I want to hang out and have some beers and stuff. And the thing that really sucks, and I don't know if you're going to be able to partake in any of it, is that man. I'm just seeing the videos of the grill, and we were supposed to meet up for the Miami game. And I had him. I got the chef's hat for me. We were all ready to roll, and they might go ahead and screw us and put the game on Christmas Eve. Didn't really help either one of us out. So we're gonna have to figure it out. Maybe I have to get him to trailer up something for one of these Cowboy games. We'll tailgate there.
Yeah, for sure. I already done told him. I said, man, look, I've done seen those mouth-watering dishes you be putting on here, all that food, man. We definitely gonna be eating some good food, man. I'm licking my chops already, man. Fred gonna throw down, man. I have no doubt about it. So
yeah, no, but yeah, so good things. But I guess my Heat are done. We lost the game, so now it's 3-2. A little bit of pressure. I'll leave it at that. A little bit of pressure, but my weekend, I leave tomorrow, going on a little 4-day little cruise. So I'll be watching the Miami game Saturday night somewhere on the water. They better have that game on. Miami will win Saturday. Mark, relax. I know you're getting excited. Probably getting your head fitted for the hat that you want. Your boy's still getting the hat, so I don't want to hear none of that foolishness. Miami will handle it. We'll get that thing done. But what you doing on the weekend, Kelly? You got anything going on?
Well, not a whole lot, man. It's a holiday weekend. I'm gonna kick back and relax. Hoping that my Red Raider baseball team is playing in the Big 12 championship. They're down. They're trailing 5-3 versus OU right now. But if they beat OU, they're gonna advance to the semifinals. And they just got to get one more, and they'll be playing in the Big 12 championship. So the College World Series every year comes to Omaha. So Texas Tech has become, since 2014, they've become a staple of the College World Series. They have been here more often than they have not. So I always look forward to getting to come and see them and root for them. And the College World Series, man, whether you're a baseball fan or not, is just one of the coolest experiences, man, that you can be a part of, man, because Omaha is really an underrated city, man. It's a beautiful city, but they just do that event so well. Just from tailgating to the park, like just everything about it, man. The ballpark is beautiful. I love the College World Series, and that's coming up soon, man. It's in June. Starts the second week of June, so I'm looking forward to the College World Series, and hopefully my Red Raiders will be there. But we got to handle some business tonight against OU. So
yeah. Look at old Jimmy D broadcast, Uncle Cheech. Yeah, Jimmy D will be loving it, and Uncle Cheech, he told me they'd win, so I'm gonna be disappointed if they. Uncle Cheech gonna owe me some money. He gave me some bad advice.
Well, like I said, man, I think your Heat got it locked down. Mark, I wouldn't get too excited and go getting fitted for a hat just yet, man. Because not too many teams. Well, what is it, like 0 and 150?
0 and something in NBA.
Nobody in the NBA has ever done it. The only team that I know of was the Boston Celtics, and that was just that was a little bit of fairy dust and magic and maybe some unicorn shit that got sprinkled around in Boston to make that possible. But I don't think that's happening again, Mark. So I wouldn't.
No, just go ahead and chill with it, man. But hey, we'll get out of here. I gotta go pack. Kelly's got to go watch that game. He's got a little hope. I got no hope for tonight. But you guys, we appreciate it. Again, hit that like, subscribe, share. Best thing you could do is spread the word. You're going to see Kelly and I all over the place, man, especially when the season goes, because you're going to have that hype. You got the heat. You got all that stuff, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And make sure, if you're not there for the home opener, what are you waiting on, man? Go get some tickets. You can do the standing room only. You can go tailgate, whatever it is. Just hang out with your boys. We're going to have a great time. So you guys have a good weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Enjoy it. Spend time with the family, man. We'll see you guys. When are we going to see you? Next Thursday. Next Thursday.
Thursday.
Enjoy, man.
All right, man.
Eagles. Whoop. Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you?